When you think about editing your photography, what software comes to mind? Pretty much it's going to be Lightroom as the answer. But is that always the right fit for your photography? It might not be. In this video, we're going to be looking at a great alternative to Lightroom that I think could really fit your photography. Hey, what's up guys? My name is David Johnson. On this channel, we talk landscape photography, everything from infield to editing from start to finish. So if you're into that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up if you like this video. So what is this mysterious software that I'm talking about? It's called DxO Photo Lab. And the reason why I like it is the organization that the editing takes place in. Now, Lightroom is great for organizing your photos and making quick global edits to an image. Now, what's a global edit? A global edit is just an edit that impacts the entire photo. And DxO Photo Lab does that too, but it kind of takes it a step further and making it easier to do localized edits than Lightroom's workflow, in my opinion. So let's get in here. Let's look at the overall scene of this. So number one, you do have a photo library that's connected to your folders. I have mine organized by dates over here on the left-hand side. Now I'm going to be working on this photo here from Iceland. And what I'm going to be doing is just going through making global edits, but also then making some local edits as well. Now, one thing that you'll see as I go over to the Customize tab here to start editing my photos is it makes it really easy to switch in between photos if I wanted to. But if I don't want this down here, I can just reduce the size down at the bottom. Now, the reason I love this is it just has everything at my fingertips and I can already start to go through the process. Now, I like to teach a process of edits that are powerful, but that make you spend less time behind the computer screen, which is what I think a lot of photographers want in general. So let's start off with our global edits here first. So global edits, I'm going to start off with the light. See, they're organized up here at the top with light, color, detail, geometry, and watermark or effects, and then local adjustments. I really like how they specify that as local adjustments. I'm really going to be hitting on light and color mainly with this photo and then go over into the local adjustments. So for light and color, I'm just going to play around with the exposure here. I'm going to drop it down a little bit. I love how the histogram over in the left side is really prominent, so you can see that. And then you also have your move zoom window of your photo right below that. So I'm going to drop the exposure just a little bit on this, and then I can play around with what else is going on in this. Highlights, midtones, shadows, and blacks. I'm going to increase the highlights just a little bit, decrease those midtones, decrease my shadows just a little bit to make this photo a little moody. You know, when I was out taking this photo, it was a little bit cloudy, a little bit moody when I was out there taking the image, and I want to reflect that in the overall photo. Now, down here, you can see DxO Clear View Plus with intensity. What this is basically doing is it's kind of adjusting a lot of different things at once. If you see I reduce it all the way down, it kind of looks like a raw file. If I bring it all the way up, it's bringing in a lot of different edits at once, which when we're talking about making less edits or spending less time at the computer while making more powerful edits, I think this is a huge one to play around with. Now, I've already increased that way above where I would want it to be, but you can see down here that as you increase it up, you're basically creating more contrast, more saturation, and a little bit more just pop to the overall photo. That wow factor to the photo, which I think a lot of photographers are searching for. Now, what I love to do about this is you can switch this on and off really easily to see what that looks like before and after. So you can see with just one slider edit that we've done here, we've really intensified that photo and really brought out a lot of that wow factor in the image. Contrast and micro contrast, I'm just going to increase that contrast a little bit. And then micro contrast to me is a little bit more like clarity in the image or sharpening in the image too. I don't want to do that a ton in this photo, but I will do it just a little bit. Now with the tone curve down here, it's kind of just your preference. Do you like to use the tone curve? Do you like to use sliders? I'm a sliders man myself. You know, it's kind of like if you're getting a car, do you want leather seats or cloth seats? Leather seats, I think, are the tone curve people. I'm a cloth seat man, so I go sliders, but they both do the exact same thing. So that's the general light of this photo. I'm gonna go over here to color to start working with the color next. Now, white balance, I set that white balance in the field, but just so you know, that white balance is there for you to work with if you want to do that. I'm gonna go down here to color and black and white rendering. If I look at the intensity here, I can play around with that and really create a little bit more contrast in the photo, but also create a little bit more intense color in the photo as well. I don't want to make it too intense, so I'm going to drop that down to about an 11 to see exactly what that looks like, and then protect saturated colors. I can pull that up and down to protect the saturation of a lot of those colors so that when you make these global adjustments, a lot of those colors don't look super fake. It's a really subtle effect that you can make to your photo. LUT grading is basically like a preset that you can put on your photo. I don't use LUTs too much in my images, but just so you know they're there, I can bring any of LUTs in that I wanted to. And then we're gonna look at HSL. One of my favorite tools in photography, especially for landscape photography, is the HSL tool. Now, HSL stands for hue, saturation, and luminance. So when you're looking at hue, saturation, and luminance, every pixel, you know you bought that camera for 50 megapixels, that's telling you that every single one of those little megapixels is made up of three things: your hue, your saturation, and your luminance. So this is how you affect all of those colors. So what I'm going to do is just look at my HSLs, and I can scroll through to the different colors here. Now, what colors do I have in this image? I have a lot of greens, so I can select out the greens part of this, and I can increase the saturation of those greens. I can increase the luminance of those, and I can also adjust the hue if I wanted to. Now, also, if I wanted to pick a specific color, which I love about this tool, I can just click that color dropper, bring it in here, select out those blues, and just increase the saturation of those blues just a little bit. I love that effect in this tool and being able to pinpoint exactly what colors I want to impact. Now I'm going to do that again with this color dropper tool. I'm going to bring it over to, let's say kind of like this brownish, orangish green over here. Increase that just a little bit. And select out my blues again just to kind of get those dialed in. Let's see if I want a little more luminance on those to bring those out. Okay, that looks pretty good. You also have a channel mixer down here with your reds, greens, cyans, so you can really look at what you're impacting with those. I don't use channel mixers a ton with my photography, but it's something to play around with. Okay, we've impacted our light, we've impacted our color, and this hasn't really taken a long time. You know, the majority of this is me explaining what these tools do and how to use them, so you can really use these tools to make adjustments in just like 2 minutes and then get back out and take more photos. I'm gonna finish up with the localized adjustments. But before I do, I wanna show you a really easy way to look at the before and after of how you've edited this photo and what it looks like. So I'm gonna deselect the hue color picker right there. And I'm going to look at this photo. I'm gonna say, here are my edits on this photo. I'm gonna select compare and hold down. So here's the photo that we started with, and here's what it looks like in just a few edits. So again, here's before and here's after. So we've made a ton of adjustments. Let's get to localized edits here now. So I'm gonna select this icon up here that says local adjustments. Really handy that it tells you exactly what those tools are. One thing about this photo is I want to make the sky a lot more moody. Now, local adjustments can be a brush tool, a linear gradient. There are so many different things that you can do with localized adjustments. Basically, what you want to do is say, how can I impact this photo a little bit more? Well, for this photo in particular, it's going to be the sky. So I'm going to use a linear gradient here. So the linear gradient is going to be AKA a graduated filter. So I'm going to select this. One of the things that I love about this is it shows you all of the keyboard shortcuts when you select out a local adjustment. Really handy to make fast edits here. So I'm going to pull the graduated filter down into the image, and you can see that that shows up as red. That's just showing you where this mask is going in. A mask is just another term for a local adjustment, and it's you pinpointing exactly where you want your edits to be. So with that, I want to darken those skies to make that sky moody. I'm going to increase my highlights a little bit. I'm going to decrease my midtones, decrease the shadows, and also decrease those blacks to bring out that moody, moody sky over this beautiful waterfall. So those are the localized adjustments. Now you also have things like a control line, a control point, masking, a brush mask. There's so many different things that you can use in these local adjustments that you can play around with. So many options to play with. Now the last step here is just cropping this so that it really looks like it should. The crop and the horizon line is just slightly off. So these basic tools up here are going to be your like crop tool, move tool, you have geometry tools, spot removal, red eye reduction as well. I'm just gonna crop this and twist it just a little bit so that the horizon line is straight in the photo. And I'm gonna hit enter, and that's going to crop this photo for me. So let's look at the before and after and everything that we've done in this image in just a short time and why this is such a great alternative to Lightroom. So here's before and here's after. Here's before and here's after. There's so much that we've done with this photo in just a few minutes that you can see why this is such a powerful software to use. If you want to try this out for yourself, I have a link below with a code that you can use for a discount for the DxO Photo Lab software, so you can play around with it, see how powerful it is for your photography, and why this is a great fit for so many photographers who want fast results but also powerful results.